To be very honest, I was actually going to move on and let this story drop and leave it to those who specialize in weather anomalies to talk about it here on YouTube. But something now has occurred that has thrown it back into this channel's wheelhouse, which is psychological operations. For those of you who are unaware of what you're looking at, during the time of the eclipse, around the 8th and 9th of April, there were these strange readings that popped up on a website called Ventusky. Now, apparently I've been pronouncing it incorrectly, calling it Ventusky. I think a lot of people do. No one could really explain what was going on. This region here off the coast of Cape Town was showing wave heights 80, 85, 90 feet in an area the size basically of Texas. Now, to try to debunk this as some type of a glitch was ridiculous, because when you saw the pictures coming out of Cape Town, how powerful the wind was and the level of destruction that occurred, it literally turned the tide. That's how powerful this event was. But guess what? They're actually trying to do that now. They're actually trying to, the website itself with others, are trying to make us believe, make everyone believe, that this was just, never happened. No, it was just online only. It was just a glitch in our modeling. Even though there are visual pictures from Cape Town showing what happened. That makes this a psychological operation, and that is battlefield of the mind stuff. That's what we talk about. Now, real quick, as always, thank you, everyone who's joined us over the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. Those of you who are members, breaking news alert, brand new video posted, got it up last night. Took me a lot longer to do than what I thought, but a lot of the things that we began talking about 2 years ago, they're now coming to fruition. If you'd like to see the confirmation video where we break all this down, join us over there. It's only one single US dollar per month. That's it. $1 a month. Base level. Even less, though, if you sign up for an entire year at one time. And here's the best part. First 90 days, no questions asked, fully refundable. So you've got absolutely nothing to risk. And there's hundreds of videos over there. There's not 6 videos or 8 videos or 10 videos. There's hundreds of videos over there, never before seen on YouTube. Love to have you over there. God bless all of you who are. Those of you who signed up at the $5 level or higher, God bless all you too. There is a handful of videos over there for the $5 level, but fair warning, all of the videos over there are not like what you have experienced here recently on YouTube the last decade. These are Gen X level videos and above what we would expect as far as imagery and language and all that. So fair warning, some folks have gotten a little snowflakey, but that's fine. That's why we have the refund policy. Now, Fox News and their diligent reporter, Greg Wiener, have decided that they want to jump into the debunk game on this. African weather system generating rumors of UFOs and 80-foot waves blamed on software area. Ventusky wrote, despite numerous reports of UFOs or Atlanteans launching from the ocean, yesterday's image of giant waves near Africa was due to a model error. Apparently, the giant ball of wind that turned the tide back must be something that was caused by the website as well. Have they attempted to explain that? Here's what they do. This is called reductio ad absurdum. Those of you, by the way, that don't think psychological operations is important, as a prep, so to speak. A lot of people love to talk about beans and bolts and band-aids and all this kind of stuff. If you don't think it's important as a prep, watch this. Watch this. Alien and conspiracy theorists showed up in full force last week after a weather modeling software error showed an anomaly the size of Texas moving up the African coastline while generating waves bigger than 80 feet. So what they try to do here, video of the weather pattern got the rumor mill going, with people claiming it was anything from a massive underwater sea creature to a spaceship under the sea, and here's the picture they show. Now, what are they doing here? What's the psychological operation? It's called reductio ad absurdum. This is part of the 24 cognitive biases, 24 logical fallacies. What they do is they take people who are making reasonable arguments, and then they lump them into a group of people who are making unreasonable arguments, broad brushing all of them together, and then by guilt by association, another cognitive fallacy, making the entire concept of challenging the narrative one that is just embarrassing for you because you think it's space aliens, or you think it's something out of the movies. No, it's absolutely not. What we could be looking at is something far more ominous. Now, here's something I would love Fox News to debunk. Okay? See this picture right here? You're like, yeah, Laura Maki, we've seen this picture. It's from April 9th. Oh, why don't we take a quick look at the calendar here before we make any assumptions? How many of you can see this? February 21st, 2024. Look familiar? 84, 85 foot wave heights. February 22nd. The same thing, 80 foot wave heights. Isn't that odd? And guess what? You can go back into January, and you can even see sometimes in March. What I think, my first thought on this was it had to do with a massive blast of icy cold water that came out from underneath, not on the top, underneath Antarctica. Because that would wreak havoc with something called the Thermohaline cycle. The Thermohaline cycle is what makes our planet habitable for life as we know it. And that's just basically the idea. To give it the 30-second here, for those of you who are unaware what the Thermohaline cycle is. You have warm, shallow currents and cold, salty, deep currents. Now, when the warm, shallow currents cool enough and get salty enough, with the sea to air heat transfer, that happens just off the coast of England, the waters drop. And as they drop, they pull water that far up, and then as they drop, they then fall to the bottom and move back southward, where they get colder and they get saltier. And then the same thing happens when they get to the same spot, relatively speaking, on the planet. Unique location where very salty and dense seawater, very salty and dense seawater sinks, creating this circulation, this massive global conveyor belt of weather. Now, I want folks to think about this critically. What we could be looking at here is the death throes, the beginning death rattles of the Thermohaline cycle. There have been events in Antarctica where there have been huge heat waves. I mean, far beyond anything anybody ever predicted. That would have caused massive melting beneath the ice. If large, giant amounts of cold, and here's the key, fresh water are being let out in Texas-sized amounts, what we could be looking at here is the cycle beginning to die. It's not going to die a smooth death. It's not going to die a pretty death. It's going to be something that happens in blasts like this. And like I said, this is February. Let's go to April. Same thing. Same thing. In 2 different months. These could just be massive amounts, huge releases. Because here's what would happen. Here's what would happen if the water came in out from underneath the glaciers in the deep ocean down there, and cold fresh water mixed with very cold salt water. All it would do was push it up. Initially, there would be no seismic readings. There would be no way to measure this. It would just initially push up that giant ball of water until it got to a certain altitude where it couldn't hold it anymore, and then it would collapse on itself. And that's my explanation for the massive wind field that literally stopped the tides in South Africa. And we showed that they reported this all over the place, that these events stopped the movement of the tides. This is what I think we're looking at, and what I think they're hiding, and why we are seeing Greg Wiener and his buddies over at Fox News trying to make anybody who asks questions feel like, oh, I'm a stupid tinfoil hat wearing moron that believes in space aliens and blah, blah, blah. See, this is what they do. This is the game they play. Look at the pictures on the article. They show old 1950s black and white saucers. You know, they show some cartoon alien with a universe in the background. They don't talk about reality. They don't look at this and say, could this possibly have happened? Even though there are, by now, probably hundreds of articles talking about what happened off the coast of South Africa. Houses being destroyed, semi-trucks being blown off bridges that they travel regularly, the tide being turned, fires everywhere, massive destruction. Oh, that happens all the time. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But this is why we do this, and we're only truly allowed to do it, over at the Patreon channel. Some say, why don't you go to this channel, this other channel? To be honest, those are all controlled as well. They're controlled. You see, at the Patreon channel, you can go there, you can sign up, and you can see the truth. You go to these other places, I'll promise you this, if it's free, you're the product, not the information. If it's free, you're the product, not the information. And you're the one being played. So there are other channels that talk about this. I'm sure you guys are going to have the links down in the comment section. I get it. That's their wheelhouse. That's what they do. Talking about the details and the nuts and the bolts. Absolutely. Check them out for sure. But the real story from my perspective, from this channel's perspective, is now the psychological operations tack on this, that they are now trying to make everybody who is looking into this and trying to make sense of it in a logical way look like we're a bunch of crazies. Look like, we're just a bunch of morons, who think, the Cylons are going to show up, and they're going to look like Tricia Helfer and all this kind of stuff. All this nonsense. So, anyway, but we do have a new direction to go for sure, and it's probably going to bother a few folks over at the Patreon channel, but such is life. Just wanted to share this real quick here on YouTube. If you would like to see an absolutely spectacularly well done look at the Thermohaline cycle and how weather moves and why it moves and why it does what it does, you can check this out. And I know I'm going to get in a whole bunch of trouble for even saying this. This is the NASA Scientific Visualization Studio. I know we have a whole bunch of folks out there who, think NASA is what it, we'll get into that in another video. But absolutely great animation here. It goes across the whole globe, everywhere, and shows all of the major and minor currents. And it shows here in this particular image why England and Ireland and Scotland, why that place is even habitable, even though when you look at it on the globe, it is on the same latitude as northern Canada that's frozen all the time. See, why is it the same weather? Why is the weather in England so nice and wonderful and warm? And when you track the same latitude over here to this part of the hemisphere, it's like northern Canada where it's frozen all year round. Thermohaline cycle. That current brings all that temperature, all that warm air up to this region. That's why places like this, even if you look at Spain, which is, incredibly warm in certain places, they're on the same basic latitude as, at least the northern part of the Midwest, Michigan, but their weather is in completely different climate. Coast of Spain versus, say, Michigan. So, anyway, but I will leave it there. Just wanted to share this just wanted to once again reiterate, for me, and at least any group that I'll be a part of, in any kind of a collapse situation, if that group of people doesn't have command of their mental faculties, I don't care how well prepped they are. I don't care how many ballistic weapons they have. I don't care how many bullets they have. I don't care how much food they have stocked up. I don't care how many nurses or doctors they have. If they're mentally not stable, if they're mentally not rational and able to understand how the brain works and control their mind, I'm not going to be around them. And you shouldn't either. If you'd like to get read in, if you'd like to get brought up to speed on the 24 cognitive biases and the 24 logical fallacies that plague every human being on the planet, and begin setting up defenses, setting up perimeters, so to speak, join us. Best single US dollar per month that you'll ever spend. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.